This is an excerpt of the Plejadian-Plejarian Contact Reports, Conversations, Volume 11. Pages 22 and 23, 435th Contact, Thursday, October the 5th, 2006, 3:16 p.m. Continued.
Yet a question. You told me that you possess a piece of material that is 38 billion years old. But our astrophysicists always speak of our material universe being only 13,700 million years old. How does that make sense?
The entire universe is around 46 trillion years old, while the material belt, that is to say, that part of the universe which terrestrial scientists call the universe, is much younger, as a consequence of the constant renewal of the visible material belt, which is surrounded, inwardly towards the center and outwardly towards the outermost belt, by 6 further belts which constantly expand, that is to say, stretch, as do the galaxies. In the same way, the material belt of the universe, that is to say, the visible, material part of the universe which Earth human beings wrongly call the universe, expands, that is to say, stretches, constantly, whereby this, however, also changes and renews itself again and again, which occurs approximately every 49 billion years, as our newest research, which has only recently been concluded, demonstrates. One such change took place around 17 billion years ago, whereby the beginning of the change occurred, without a transitional period, in the 2 belts, the inner and outer, which directly enclose the material belt. In the inner and outer transition zones, in which the change occurs, there exists as yet no solid matter, because this first begins materially to solidify into coarse matter in the actual material part of the material belt, the actual beginning of which, seen from the Milky Way, that is to say, the Earth, is about 15 billion light-years distant. That means that the transition zones of the adjacent inner and outer belts take up the greatest distance, and that it is also from there that the so-called background radiation originates. What is interesting about that is also that the material belt indeed expands outwardly and ages. However, inwardly, it becomes younger up to the point in time of its renewal, which means that, therefore, the greater age of the material belt is measured at the outside, while its interior proves to be younger. Therefore, a constant coming about is underway in the inside of the material belt, while, in the regions of the belt which stretch outwardly, there is a passing away. Once the high point of the development of the material belt is achieved, then a renewed passing away and change begins, out of which a new material belt, or, seen in the terrestrial sense, a new material universe, emerges. And concerning the material which is 38 billion years old, we found this tiny particle in the transition zone, and, indeed, in the region near the material belt.
If I am right, then that means that our material belt, that is to say, our visible, material part of the universe, will persist for 32 billion more years, before transformation occurs again. And how must one imagine this transformation?
The entirety of the cosmatter material, of every kind, renews itself. Consequently, therefore, new galaxies, stars and planets, and so forth, come into existence. With this transformation, which takes place within about 2 billion years, certain residues remain, which are deposited both in the transition zones, and in the material belt, as dark energy and as particle-like dark matter, which can, with special technologies, be captured and measured. This dark matter is, therefore, very much older than the actual cosmatter material of the visible material belt, that is to say, than the visible part of the universe, which is mistakenly referred to as the universe by the Earth human beings, although this material belt constitutes only one part out of the 7 parts which make up the actual universe.